In this video, we're going to go over all the features that are available to you in the Pro tier of the Karate IntelliJ IDEA plugin. Let's take a look at all the features on offer. The Pro tier of the Karate IntelliJ plugin contains the following features: Autocomplete for Karate syntax, code folding, the ability to jump to references within IntelliJ, JSON Re-formatting, the ability to run all the Karate tests contained within a single folder, support for debugging Karate tests within the IDE. Let's take a look at each of these features individually, starting with Autocomplete. We can use the Autocomplete feature of Karate to get help and suggestions when writing our tests. So I'm writing a Karate feature file here, and so far I've just defined that it's a feature file and I've set a couple of background parameters. I now want to continue writing my test, but by using Autocomplete. So I'll start with just a star, and then I'm going to bring up the Autocomplete menu by pressing Ctrl and space. So this brings up suggested Karate keywords, and here I'm going to choose path, and then I'm going to type in a path for my endpoint. Then on the next line, I'll add another star. I'm going to bring up the Autocomplete again with Ctrl and space. This time I'm going to choose method, and for the method I'll just put a get call. And on the next line, after a star, I'll press Ctrl and space again, and this time I'm going to choose the status keyword, and I'll add in a status of 200. So you can see that this autocomplete functionality can really help you to remember the Karate syntax. The next feature of the Pro version of the Karate plugin is the ability to collapse sections of code to make it easier to deal with large feature files. The feature file that we're looking at here is large, with a bunch of different scenarios in it. Thanks to the Karate plugin, I can fold and hide any of these scenarios to hide the code contained within them. Naturally, this makes it much easier to work with any large Karate feature files that you have. The Karate IntelliJ plugin allows you to navigate directly to other Java files that you might be calling within your Karate feature file. So in this Karate feature file, on line 4 here, we're referencing a Java file called app API interop helper. If we mouse over the file name, we get a pop-up with more information about that file. And if we click on the pencil icon here, we'll be taken directly to that file. The next feature of the plugin is JSON Re-formatting. This feature is important because developers will often obtain JSON from logs and other sources, then cut and paste this directly into Karate tests. Let's see how the Karate plugin can help us handle this JSON. In this file, we have a small blob of JSON which just has 3 entries. Say we want the JSON to go onto multiple lines. To do that, we can click on the light bulb here and choose Make Multiple Line, and then the JSON gets put into multiple lines for us. So we can also make this JSON strict and add all of the double quotes around the JSON. So if I again click on the light bulb here, and I'll choose JSON Format Strict, and now the JSON format is changed so that it has the double quotes around the keys. Or if you want to put it back to what it was before, we can choose JSON Format Lenient, and it will return to the formatting without the double quotes around the keys. Of course, we could also put it back onto a single line if we wanted to as well. Let's say we wanted to add a more complex blob of JSON. Let's remove this small bit up here first. I'm then going to go onto a new line. I'm going to add 3 double quotes, and I'm going to use these to hold my JSON. I'm then going to paste in a large blob of JSON. And again, let's take a look at the Karate JSON formatting options that we have. So again, if we click on the light bulb, we could make this JSON lenient. That's going to take out the double quotes for us. Or again, we could make it strict to put the double quotes back. And even with this large blob of JSON, we can even put this onto a single line if that's what we want. The Karate plugin gives you the ability to easily run every Karate test contained within a single folder. Let's say you wanted to run every test inside this simple folder. Thanks to the Karate plugin, you can simply right-click on the folder, and I'll choose Run App API Simple. And as simple as that, the Karate plugin will execute all the tests contained within that single folder. Another important feature of the Pro tier of the Karate plugin is the ability to debug Karate tests directly within IntelliJ. There are 3 different methods of debugging: debugging karate.feature files directly, debugging Karate from Java, and debugging Java from Karate. Let's jump back over to the IDE and take a look at each method. Let's first look at simply debugging Karate feature files. Let's say we wanted to debug this Karate test. I'll add a few breakpoints to the test here. I'm then going to right click on the feature and I'm going to choose debug. And that's going to start running the test in debug mode. The test stops at the breakpoint and we can step forward and we can see down here that the in-scope variables have been updated and we can get access to them by clicking on them like so. And we can also step backwards and again we can see that the scope is getting updated at the bottom. Let's next look at debugging Karate from Java. So this API test class is a JUnit Java class that we can use to execute Karate tests. We've set it up to execute the tests contained in the simple.feature file, which we also have open here. So I'm going to add some breakpoints into this Java class. And I'm going to add a few breakpoints into the feature class as well. So now I'm going to right click on test tool and I'm going to choose debug. That's going to start running this test in debug mode. So it stops at the breakpoints here. Again, I can step over. So I'm stepping over the breakpoints here in the Java class. And we can see that the debugger has also stopped at the breakpoints in the Karate feature file as well. So here the debugger is working both for Java files and for Karate files as well. Finally, let's look at debugging Java from Karate. So this simple Karate feature file calls a Java class called app API interop helper. And we can see we've got this helper class open up as well. So I'm going to set up breakpoints both in the feature class here. If I go over to the helper class, I'm also going to set up some breakpoints in that class as well. So I'm now going to right click on the scenario here. I'm going to choose to run it again in debug mode. So the breakpoint's triggered here in the feature file. We can step over these breakpoints. And when we step over again, we can see now that the breakpoints in the Java class are being triggered as well. And take a look at this arg here for hello world. So this argument has actually come over from the feature file, from the Karate feature file. So we're actually able to debug here in hybrid mode. We can actually get arguments passed from the feature file into Java as well. The Karate IntelliJ IDEA plugin is in a state of constant development. As well as all the features we've seen in this video, additional new features are regularly added. You can read about and check the status of these features in the documentation. Karate also offers Pro and Enterprise users integration to asynchronous protocols including Kafka, gRPC, WebSocket and Webhook. Again, please refer to the documentation website for further information.